Hello everyone and welcome to Toastmasters Bay to Bay, a District 4 presentation featuring speakers from San Francisco to Monterey. Hello, my name is Garylene Javier and I'm going to be your Toastmaster for this evening. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers for you today, the first of which is Didi Gu-Chiang. Didi just recently competed at the division level of the Humorous Speech Contest. I'm so thrilled and excited to hear her speech, Aging and Wisdom. Didi Gu-Chiang.
Will you laugh if I tell you my age is 18? You laugh. You are honest. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests, I always think age is a touchy subject just for women. Then I realize men have age sensitivity too. I found it out when I overheard my husband telling others about his age. He said, I'm not 50, I'm 20 with 30 years of experience. Experience helps us to become mature. That's why Chinese people believe old age is a symbol of wisdom. But are all the seniors wise though? In my experience, all the seniors I have met are wise. But one, my husband. However, over time, he has helped me to restore my faith that all the seniors are wise. Let me share with you how he has done that. Recently, I bought a bottle of very expensive lotion to treat the brown spots on my face. My husband told me the money shouldn't have been spent. He explained to me the brown spots on my face are just like the brown spots on a ripening banana. The brown spots appear only when the banana is mature. They appear on the outside, but the inside is still sweet and beautiful. Hoo la la! I really appreciate his comments. He is saying my outside appearance is mature and I also have an inside beauty. What a clever man. This clever man has 2 master's degrees. He has the highest education in his family. Many of his relatives have sought his advice for just about everything. One of his nephews asked him for the advice to a happy marriage. My husband told his nephew, once my husband got engaged, his motto was, I am the husband-to-be, and it's all about her. Oh yeah, I am the her, it's all about me. Of course, my husband took the opportunity to encourage his nephew to cherish what he had, especially since his nephew is young. He mentioned to his nephew that he got tired when he became old. His nephew asked my husband, Uncle, do you take naps? My husband replied, do I take naps? No, they take me. He explained, especially when he was watching mystery on TV, he often woke up to ask, who did it? I could imagine when my husband dozed off, his bald head and the blue rays from TV shining off of each other. When I met my husband, he was not bored, and he was not as wise either. Over time, he surprised me with his wisdom. For example, One of my Toastmaster friends suggests that I should not tell the story about his bald head. My husband commented, "If you don't tell the joke about my bald head, you will not have a better joke to tell." When we get older, I could see that my husband becoming wiser and more mature. He made me think of antiques. Antiques may have an older look, but they have value. This honest person who laughed when I say I was 18 knows I'm an antique too. My husband has value. I am valuable. He's wise. I am wise too. You see? He has his bald spot, and I have my brown spots. Madam Toastmaster.
Didi, thank you so much for that. I'm hoping that husbands of the future and nephews to be who actually are about to get married will take advice from your husband. So what does a dynamic woman like yourself do outside of Toastmasters?
I'm sporty, so I love swimming and hiking, and I can be quiet too. I read and I listen to music.
What's your favorite book so far?
So far, the chicken books, because I also like to read. No, read and eat.
Read and eat. I think those are very, very entertaining activities indeed. So I know that you swim a lot. Since when have you started swimming?
Since elementary school.
And do you still maintain that until now?
Try to do it on every day in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I wish I was just as sporty as you, especially so early in the morning. So thank you very much. At this point, we have an evaluator for you, and that is Becky Divinski from Switch On Toastmasters.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially Didi, what a wonderfully humorous speech. And it also really shows what kind of a relationship you have with your husband. The aging and wisdom is very good because you showed from the get-go about age. You opened your speech talking about, do you think I'm 18 years old? So we got a sense of your humor about age. And then your husband, we got a sense of humor about him and age too, and he's 50, but he's 30 or 20 with 30 years experience. And I think that was good that you opened your speech like that because you let all of us in on the humor between you and your husband. And the humor that followed made it more comfortable for us to be able to laugh about it because we could see that there is a lot of humor about aging and wisdom as shown through you and your husband's eyes. Some of the other wonderful jokes and stories, the story about your nephew, "Do I take naps?" Your husband says, "No, they take me." It was one of your best lines. And you enhanced the humor with gestures when you were talking about the bald head and the Blu-ray TV and the banana. Your audience member was very helpful without even knowing it. You came up, and I love how animated you were, and you gave him the banana to take a bite off of. And we really got the visual of the brown spots and how, again, you have good humor about aging. Just a couple things I want to mention. There was one joke in there that wasn't as clear for me, and that was the joke about I'm the husband-to-be, it's all about her, I am the her, it's all about me. I wasn't really clear on that one, and I think some of the audience members weren't either, perhaps. So just trying to make that a little bit clear so you can get the laugh quickly. And the other thing was, near the beginning, just a little bit more vocal variety to emphasize some of your jokes, and then you got into the swing of it. But you had very good pauses throughout and lots of laughter. And thank you for letting us feel good about aging and knowing that we are getting wiser too as we age.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Becky. So today, our featured club is Public Speakeasy's Toastmasters. They're located in downtown San Francisco, and they've been chartered since 1991. And just with a long time of being in existence, there's always wisdom that comes with it. So sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the show.
My name is Becky Divinski, and I've been with Toastmasters for 12 years, and I'm currently the VP of Public Relations. The concept of an open house is to invite lots of guests in and let them get a feel for a real Toastmaster meeting. And what's different about an open house meeting versus a regular Toastmaster meeting is that the roles and the portions of the meeting will be explained to the guests. It's usually for people who've never been to a Toastmaster meeting before, or it could also be for those Toastmasters who maybe came to a meeting and work caught up with them. They got really busy, life in general, and they didn't have a chance to come back, and so they saw our flyers and the word got out to them, and so they came back to a meeting to check it out again.
My name is Kim Fan, and I was looking on the SSA website, which is the Santa Clara County Employee website, and there's weekly postings of meetings or community involvement programs, and I saw the Toastmasters and the things that were listed on the flyer, like public speaking, thinking on your feet, various leadership skills. So that caught my attention. After coming to the meeting, I realized that it would be a great advantage to have these skills, leadership skills, public speaking skills for my work. Up until the flyer, I've never heard of Toastmasters. I didn't even know what Toastmasters. I thought it was just a seminar. I would like to join and, yeah, definitely try out my first speech and be evaluated and see what areas I can improve in.
My sister brought me into Toastmasters. She was a Toastmaster at a early morning club. I am not a morning person, but she talked me into going to her Toastmaster club at 6:30 in the morning. Now, there are Toastmaster clubs at all different times, different days, but she had to have a 6:30 a.m. meeting. I went, they had me talk in the table topics portion, and I was silent for about 30 seconds out of the minute. The interesting thing is, I joined a different club. I got introduced to Toastmasters, and then one of her friends who went to a 7 p.m. meeting invited me to their club, and I joined. There's a District 4 website, www.d4tm.org. And you can do a search for clubs in your area. Maybe you want a club after work, maybe you want a club near your home. Also, you can do a search for Toastmasters on the website, but that's not as efficient. There are Toastmasters. We are an international organization, so you're going to find them everywhere.
From one very cool club to one very cool cat. Now I'd like to introduce you to a Toastmaster from the Los Gatos Silver-Tongued Cats, Bud Everts. So Bud, tell us a little bit about what you're going to be sharing with us today.
What I'll be sharing, Garylene, is some tips for non-native speakers of English to help them communicate more clearly in American English.
Oh, I'm sure that we can all learn from that. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bud Everts.
Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Today I'll be speaking about some ways for those of you who are non-native speakers of English to be able to speak American English with more clarity and more confidence. So the topic I'll be speaking about today is focusing on the goals of accent acquisition. We're talking about acquiring an accent that's basically an American accent. So the first goal is really to be able to speak with more clarity. And by more clarity, what we mean is being able to speak so that your audience understands you the first time. You're not getting a lot of what did you say? Or that puzzled look on the face, that kind of not getting your message across, but really being able to communicate extremely well the very first time. The second goal of accent acquisition is to be able to speak with more confidence, to be able to really be yourself, both in speaking one-on-one, but also in speaking to groups of people, so that you're comfortable. You're not holding back and saying, gosh, I'm not sure if I should use that word because maybe I'm not pronouncing it right, or maybe it's not the right usage of the word, or maybe I'm not stressing that word properly. So really being able to speak with much more confidence. And then also just to be able to really communicate better, so that really in your work life and in your social life, you're able to really maximize all those opportunities that you have to speak. So many times I hear from people that I work with that they hold back. They have words in their vocabulary, but because they're not sure about how to use those words, they really hold back. They have a wonderful vocabulary, but the vocabulary that they use is very limited and very small because they have that lack of certainty about it. Or sometimes they're afraid to engage people in conversations, and so their so-called friends may be small. Or because they can't communicate that promotion that they're really qualified for, they don't get it because there isn't that confidence to be able to go and speak and really get their message across. Okay? So we'll talk about some of the primary skills of accent reduction. Really, what is it that we're trying to accomplish? The very first thing is word stress. American English is unique from a lot of different languages in that the words that we speak are not all stressed the same. Every word is broken down into syllables. So for example, let's use the word elephant. I think you all have a little rubber band. So what I'd like you to do is take that rubber band and put it between your thumbs like this. We'll do a little exercise here. Okay? Now when we say the word elephant, we stretch that out because that first syllable, the L, is actually the longest part of the word, and then the elephant is very short. Okay, so you want to do that with me? We go elephant. Very good. Now a lot of times I hear people come in and where they don't have that characteristic in their language, they'll just go elephant. And everything's the same. Everything is exactly the same length. So we really use this rubber band to really reinforce that change so that you really get comfortable with that. What it does, it's not just using your sense of hearing, but also your sense of sight because you actually see that rubber band stretch, and your sense of feel so that you can really reinforce that change as you make that. Okay? Secondly, we're going to talk about content versus function words, and this is a great technique for Toastmasters. Many of you have probably seen President-elect Obama, and one of the things that he does extremely well is recognize content versus function words. By that we mean content words are all the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, and the adverbs in a sentence. And all the function words are everything else. And so how we use that, we stress those words that are the content words, both in putting more emphasis and stretching out the rubber band on those words, and also going higher up in pitch. For example, President Obama, if he was speaking, might say something like, "My fellow Americans, today our country is facing a major challenge, our dependence on foreign oil." So what he's doing is stressing every single one of those content words, which makes it very easy for the audience to understand him, and it really exudes confidence and competence and integrity in his speaking. So really very important skill to have, that content versus function words. Thirdly, it's very important to have breath and airflow in speaking American English. So another participation here, I'd like you to all stand up. And what I'd like you to do is take a deep breath and try to take in as much air as you can. So I'll do it with you, okay? Breathe in. Okay? Now as I saw you, you all did the same thing. Your shoulders went up, your chest went out, and your stomach went in. Okay? Now what you probably didn't realize is your stomach needs to go out because that's where your diaphragm is. That's where you can really get a lot of breath. And it's breath that makes that noise. Okay? We want to be able to maximize that breath. So opera singers who have to sing very loud and very long, they breathe with their diaphragm. Also, those of you who have maybe taken yoga, you're breathing with the diaphragm. Okay? So it's not just taking that breath, but also then having that airflow come out. So when we say the TH sound, for example, like thank you, like to say thank you, put your hand in front of your mouth and you should feel a lot of air coming out when you say that TH sound. Let's accentuate that. Thank you. Okay? A lot of times we hear thank you, a very short sound. We want it to be a long sound. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. You may have a seat. There's a few other things. There are 23 vowel sounds in English. Even though we all learned the 6 vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y, there's 23 different vowel sounds. So in learning American English, it's really learning all 23 of those sounds and being able to use those at the proper time. Another characteristic of American English is really being able to open up your mouth. And sometimes that's very difficult because I hear a lot of people who kind of talk like this and it's very hard to understand what they're saying because they keep their mouth very closed. So Americans like to have their mouth very wide open. We go project. I'm working on a project. And that's American English. In Britain, they say, I'm working on a project. So we have loose jaws. We really open up and we really are very loose and relaxed in how we speak. So there are a lot of techniques that can be used in speaking American English that really help to sound more like American English. Okay? So, some of the options to modify your accent. One of the things you can do is self-study. There's a lot of books out there and there's a lot of CDs. They're relatively inexpensive and you can learn somewhat from them without spending a lot of time. But the problem with that is you don't get the feedback. You don't hear somebody who's a native speaker telling you where you're doing well and those areas where you need to improve and how to improve. Another option is ESL classes. You can take a class and learn with a whole bunch of people and have some very good instructors, and people can make some great progress with that. Once again, the downside of that is if you're having a particular problem, you may think that you're sounding very well, when in fact you're mispronouncing a sound and you're not aware of that unless you have that evaluation or feedback, much like we have in Toastmasters. So it's really critical to have that. I would strongly recommend personal coaching. Some of the benefits of personal coaching is it's one-on-one. So there's a coach there listening just to you and to no one else, and really helping you to articulate and find out what those particular issues are. Secondly, with personal coaching, it's not a one-size-fits-all, but it's actually customized to your individual needs. Okay? So you may have some particular issues. So sometimes what I hear, again with that airflow, is the TH sound, or sometimes it's the S and the SH sound. One of the most difficult words to speak in American English is the word suspicious, because it has the S's and the SH sounds. So it's suspicious. The Z sound also, zzz. And then one of the most difficult sounds is that zh sound, which is not quite the Z. It's a little bit different. It's zh, like in casual. Okay? So it requires a lot of airflow, a lot of breathing in and really articulating that sound out. Okay? So with that personal coaching, you can really make some wonderful progress in a short amount of time. In about 2 months, you can go from really being somewhat difficult and really having a lot of problems in being understood and in lacking confidence, and really go make tremendous strides in your ability to communicate American English. And of course, being in Toastmasters is one of the ideal environments to be able to take those skills that you've learned from your personal coaching and put them into wonderful use. Because then you have the advantage to work and communicate in a safe environment, to be able to practice and get evaluation, so you're getting that feedback, and continue to improve so that you become a wonderful speaker of American English. Thank you very much for your attention. Madam Toastmaster. Thank you.
So, Bud, you gave us some very good, very useful tips on how to speak proper American English. So tell me a little bit about yourself. How do you know so much about this?
You know, working as a coach here in Silicon Valley, I've had a tremendous opportunity to work with a wide range of people from all over the world who learned English in their native countries. Could be from China, India, Vietnam, Colombia, Korea, just all over the world. People who are in the workforce trying to communicate and working in a work environment that is very difficult because they're communicating not just with native speakers of English, but also other people who learned English as their second language. So that ability to communicate, get their ideas across, and be effective is a very important skill.
So what else do you do outside of Toastmasters?
Well, I enjoy running tremendously, and then living here in California, of course, I love wine. I'm a former wine steward, and I've put together wine lists, and I really enjoy visiting the wineries here in Northern California.
So I guess for all of those of you who are getting ready to set up your Thanksgiving dinner, he would probably be the best person to talk to when figuring out how to pair a nice meal with a good wine.
That sounds wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we have great tips coming up now.
All right, thank you.
Wow. Wasn't that a wonderful showing of what Toastmasters is really about? Two very different speakers, one entertaining and one educational. But that's what Toastmasters is really all about. And that's the reason why we are able to say that Toastmasters is the #1 leading organization for both communication and leadership development. Because from fellow speakers, both like Bud, also like Didi, and also like Becky, we're able to see how we ourselves can become better, effective speakers. So what I'd like to do now is invite everyone here, and those of you at home, please log on to d4tm.org and find out how you might be able to better yourselves. Find out when our next event is, namely the November 4th and 15th District 4 conference taking place at the Biltmore Hotel in Santa Clara. So now all I'd really like to say is we hope you'll visit a Toastmasters Club very soon near you and enjoy the Toastmaster experience. So thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode today. It was wonderful. Good job.